Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jonasz Rewiński. With presidential elections scheduled to take place in May, the associated political discussions in Poland are heating up with each passing day. Polls suggest that Warsaw's Liberal mayor Rafał Trzaskowski remains firmly in the lead, but there is a fierce battle for second place between conservative historian Karol Nawrocki and his far-right rival Sławomir Mencen. What issues are likely to resonate the most with Polish voters in the course of this campaign? Joining us now is Olgierd Annusewicz, political scientist from the University of Warsaw. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello.
So let's begin with the most general issue. Would you say that this campaign is actually engaging people in an emotional way? Because we did have a couple of campaigns before that received a lukewarm response. But now on social media, for example, the debates were quite popular with the audiences.
I mean, it's a very long campaign because some say it started back in September last year, for example. And until recent, I would say that was a pretty cold campaign. I mean, not too many things happened, not too many interesting things happened, and people were quite, emotionally soft in terms of engagement of to the politics, to follow the discussions. The thing is, of course, that we cannot say that citizens, voters, are one coherent group of people. Each of the candidates has its own hard supporters that will follow him and vote for him no matter what. The thing is that the campaign and elections are being won not only with the support of these hard-standing voters, but also, or mainly, thanks to the votes of these undecided, neutral, also swinging voters. And yes, we may say that these three recent debates, especially the one that had the highest audience back, they really resonate because there was a lot of fuss around the debate, because the debate was mostly improvised, because there were many questions: who will show on a debate, who will not, what they will ask themselves. And of course there were some unexpected decisions and moves, like the one we have just saw on the screen, with Magdalena Biejat taking over the rainbow flag from Rafał Trzaskowski. So yes, these elements have a little bit influences the rise of the temperature, but still we have more than a month until the day of the first round of the elections. Moreover, we have Easter coming, and we are just passing it, and then we have the beginning of May, the bank holidays, the leisure time, more of the leisure than of engaging in politics. So I assume that the highest temperature we may expect in, let's say, last two, maybe one, but I would rather say last 2 weeks before elections, when people will come back from their leisure, long weekend time, and they will just start thinking, okay, we have elections like going on in a couple of days, so let's try to think whom should we vote for. And of course that candidates know this, and we may expect also the higher intensity of the campaign of each of the running candidates.
So you mentioned the debates were often improvised. They were quite chaotic. You've mentioned in particular some unexpected situations taking place, like the one which we should describe for the sake of clarity, the Conservative candidate handing over the rainbow flag to the Liberal candidate, saying or implying that he is actually more interested in minorities than the general population, then the Liberal candidate trying to hide the flag, and the left-wing candidate walking over to him, taking the flag away, saying, I wouldn't like to hide this away. I'm proud of it. I'm going to display this openly. So situations like that, of course, they generate interest on social media. But then again, we also had this debacle concerning the debates themselves. Would you say that this is a reflection of the fragmented political scene, whereby it's not just the political parties or the activists, but even the media are becoming fragmented over the discussion concerning who's going to become the leader of this country?
Well, there was a general change in the media scope over last, I would say, 8 years even, or probably more than 8 years, and especially when the state-owned television was taken from the hands of the journalists closely related to law and justice. It was decided that there will be some. Now we have just 2 or 3 of them, televisions, smaller ones, but very openly supporting right conservative politicians, political party, and in terms of campaign, of course, the conservative candidate. And of course, when somebody says when somebody says that he is conservative media, then it will have the effect of other journalists and media showing like, okay, so we are more centered, or we are more liberal, or we are more, with this social democratic feeling. And from my perspective, that may be kind of against some general journalist rule that journalists should be impartial and that they should reflect the interests of the society mainly, not of any political views that are present on the political scene. But on the other hand, it's much easier to watch or to listen to some or to read some media, knowing that they have this particular stance, and then we can read it through this kind of filter of awareness that, okay, this text is written by a conservative journalist, or the other text is written by the journalist who has more social democratic views. So
can this be easily compared to the situation in the United States, for example, where you have the conservative Fox News on the one hand, you have liberal broadcasters like CNN, and then you have obviously PBS, which is supposed to be representing a more neutral stance of a public broadcaster?
That is true, but what I would underline is that we still need to know who's the neutral one, and whom you should follow if you don't know who you support. If you're this undecided neutral citizen, a voter that on a daily basis do not pay too much attention to politics, working from morning until evening, wanting to have some rest after hard day of work. I mean, there are a lot of people for whom, choosing the TV, political television, or political newspapers, political oriented newspaper would be the last decision. They rather watch some movies or just enjoy the time.
Well, that's a good point. Do you think that because we've mentioned social media before, but do you think that this is where social media might actually be seeking an opening, and also entities trying to spread disinformation might actually be taking advantage of that, because this is quite easy to reach someone who doesn't have the time to watch TV, whatever their political views. And then you might have an entity trying to spread narratives, for example, originating from the East, from Russia, and just, in order to spread chaos. Do you think that there is a risk that these narratives will reach you before you even make any sort of decision as to whom you want to support?
Well, you touched very important aspect of communication in social media, political communication in social media. First of all, we are, there is no other point, no turning point from communication in social media, because voters do not spend too much time in the traditional channels for politics. They go away, they open Facebook, X, Instagram, or TikTok, or anything else. So the political senders had no other choice than to engage and to start broadcasting, publishing in these new media. These new media, though, they require change both in the content and in the form of the messages. They have to be short, they have to be simple, they have to use a lot of images, pictures, videos, so on and so forth. The patience of the audience in the social media is very short. I mean, people like when they are scrolling on their feed in any of these social media platforms, they have a couple of seconds to caught them attention, and then if they are not caught by the message, they scroll further and further and further. And yes, this situation opens the stage, the media stage for other entities, not only for politicians, not only for NGOs, not only for traditional media, but also for entities from outside, from abroad, to interfere in the debate. And what is very important is that we should, identify the sources that are fair, that are truthful, and follow only these whom we trust, and not rely on some anonyms or entities that are not so well known and they have no credibility.
Which can be difficult if the foreign platforms such as Facebook are retreating from their policy of fact-checking, which is a different story altogether. For the time being, Olgierd Annusewicz was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your expertise.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Annusewicz. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news and updates.